Good morning and wake up, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Let's Talk Sports Show. I am your host, Bodkins. Good morning to you. Coming to you live this morning, a day after. We're just a few hours removed, should I say, from Amanda Nunes beating down Aldana. My picks were awful last night. Nunes retires the day before the chance. Also, the day, but coming to you live a day before the Denver Nuggets have a chance to clinch their first ever NBA championship. To talk about it, as always, is none other than my Puerto Rican brother, Johnny Cruz. Johnny, welcome.
What up? What up?
How you doing?
Bro, I'm happy to be here. Like I said, I am going off of just a few hours sleep. I have to admit, I fell into a black hole of MMA and knockouts last night. So me and wifey stood up watching a bunch of YouTube videos of people getting knocked the hell out, and it was awesome, to be quite honest. That was a great fight last night, man. I'm happy to be here, happy to talk about it, and looking forward to having some fun with you guys, man.
Also, a guy who's got some breaking news coming this way. Welcome from Mansbury, Massachusetts nursing home, the elder statesman of the group, Mr. Scott Cobe.
So I want to find out, first of all, I went from Dansbury to Mansbury. Is that I have no idea what this. Number two, it was a great night of sports last night. Yes. Not only the UFC, but the Stanley Cup final game last night was amazing. So, I'll wait until we go through Tanner before I make my announcement. So, but it was a great night of sports last night.
And as always, the super producer hitting all the buttons, directing all the traffic, none other than the buffoon himself, Tanner Dawson.
What up? What up?
What up? What up?
By the way, Scott, I agree on everything you said on sports last night. It was a blast. Baseball was good. The Stanley Cup Finals, drama, sensation, brawl breaking out at the end on the final block by Vegas. That was insane. And then the UFC Nunes fight. Out of everything for me, that was the most fun. So I'm in, dude. I love it.
And Sam is off doing ginger things, ginger convention there.
Look at that. We already got it. Just the Foxborough nursing home not have any room.
I think they had to transfer him out, right? They had to transfer you out of there.
Oh, God.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, I want to hit on the hockey. I didn't quite catch it, Tanner. Actually, let's get to Scott's breaking news. Scott, you got some breaking news for us. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a fantasy person as well as a betting person, and I have had the honor of being selected to be in a league called the Warrior Bowl. And it's for charity. It's for kids that are in hospice and something else. So, I'm honored to be selected to be in it again. I have 2 spots. They've gifted me 2 spots to give out. And my question was, do I do it on this show or my show? So I decided to do it on this show. So what I'm going to do, and you got to go to warriorbowl.com and sign up. It's a quick 3-minute, not even 3-minute sign up. And then you $25 to their charity for the hospice, the children's hospice. And then you get a spot in the league. And there's 2 questions I'm going to ask this morning. We're going to go through our introductions first. Then about 30 past or 45 past, I'll ask the first question. And then in the second hour, right after, I guess, I'll ask the second question. And what you have to do is put the answer to the question in the chat. And we'll pick out two random winners and give those spots away on next Sunday show. Not this Sunday, next Sunday show. So it's for a charity. I'm in the Scott Fish Bowl, the Warrior Bowl, and this. And so I'm very honored to be in that. And Tanner is in it as well. So I want to make that, known to Tanner. So it could be somebody from the chat, or it could be the 2 other panelists on this show. We don't know. So
I thought it was a given that it was me and Nick, but whatever.
It's a possibility.
If you want to let other people have a chance, then whatever.
Or both. Because if you put it in the private chat, you two,
congrats
there's
with
two
that,
questions
man, for real.
About what's going on in the first week of Let's Talk Sports show. So
okay,
I'm gonna give up my spot. I'm not gonna answer. I'm gonna give it up to our audience members. So the first, we're gonna say, Scott, we're gonna say the first 2 people get both questions right. will have a chance to be entered into that Warrior League. So it sounds like, big event, money
awesome.
donated for children. So
Yep.
plus some bragging rights there. So it's a win-win situation. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna go ahead and let Scott Cobe win that one because I'm gonna dominate us and kick his ass in the Let's Talk Sports League. So as the reigning defending champion. So I'm gonna let you have that one, Scott. I don't want to, beat you in front of a bunch of children. So I'll just
Lord have mercy.
Tanner,
congrats on all that, man, and the fishbowl too. Like that's a big one right there, man.
Listen, it's been a great week, not only betting wise, but to get the invites to these 2 charity leagues is phenomenal because it's not only just people, it's fantasy analysts and other people.
Some
so
big
it's big heavyweights in the
stuff,
industry. So
yep.
it's phenomenal. So I'm very excited.
Congrats, bro. Way to represent
Thank
LTS, man.
And the other thing is my Let's Talk Sports t-shirts, which Dan sent to me about a month ago. They'll be worn at the Scott Fish Bowl so we can get more eyes and the product. So, and I will take a picture and put it on Twitter. That's what I'm wearing at the
Nice. Nice. They allow that. It doesn't break any codes in the nursing home.
None. They'll give me a 1-day free vacation pass
Okay.
to the place that they're after is right outside of Fenway Park. So it's
nice. Nice. Awesome.
Scott, you managed. You're killing it in gambling. Who did you bet on yesterday, and how much? Who we betting on today?
So I took Vegas last night to win the game. No puck line or anything like that. I took Vegas to win the game. I took Nunez's opponent by decision, and that didn't work out too well because it went the other way.
My bad, Scott. Give me that advice. Stop.
Baseball wise, I parlayed the Orioles and the Diamondbacks and hit that.
Nice.
Good call.
And that basically was my only bets. I bet the Yankees last night to win. They won as well. So
Well, I'm glad you didn't pair the Brew Crew with that because they can't seem to beat the freaking A's to stay
what
there.
the heck is going on with the Oakland
what is
A's?
up? Yeah, dude.
They're costing me money, Tanner. They're costing me money.
What's up with the A's lately too? Like they're just nonstop because they put up 9 runs. They put up over 5. I feel like at least this last week on multiple games, and they hadn't scored 3+ since sometime in May. Like it's insane what the A's are doing right now.
They just beat Pittsburgh 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh, and they at least won 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. So
yeah.
So we to say they're a real baseball team now.
I don't know. I guess it's sad that a great week is going 5-5 in the last 10, and it's a great week for them. That's how bad, but that's how bad they were. It was a historically bad pace, so they're actually stringing together some wins, man. So it's good for them. See, they found out they're getting a new stadium, and now they actually want to play some ball.
He's like, oh, I guess we could play now, right?
Yeah.
You don't usually bet on the Rangers, Scott?
Against Tampa Bay, Allen, no chance.
Yeah, I didn't put nothing there either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Just fans, what's up, man?
What up?
They're really trying to get out of Oakland. That's why motivation.
Yeah, but here's the question: can anybody out there name 5 guys on the Oakland A's roster?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Jonathan Grisham and Jonathan Grisham.
Right.
So the thing to me is their pitching is not good. They're just hitting a streak now where they're hitting the ball well and pitching really well.
2 games, you're going to win 2 out of 3.
Every once in a while.
Eventually you're going to win. Eventually you're going to streak like this. And I have a feeling when they lose today to the Brewers, which I think they will, that it'll just go the other way again. So,
Scott, who are you looking at betting on today? Who are we betting on today?
I like Baltimore again at home against Kansas City. I like the Miami Marlins against the White Sox, and I like Arizona again. Detroit is pitching a guy named Joey Wentz, who might be the brother of Carson Wentz, and he's awful. And Arizona is just a hot team right now, so you got to ride the Arizona train until you can't ride it anymore. So, yeah, I agree. That's the only guy I know. So the thing about it is I go with teams like in betting, you have first fives. Arizona's and Texas are 2 teams that are huge at first fives. Their records are almost 67%. So
Yeah.
so you got to ride that train too.
I'm a lot of live betting on my side.
Yeah, and that's
profiting
too.
over about $50 yesterday, and it's just
Yeah.
a lot of live betting in baseball. It's first 3, first 5,
Yeah.
and then after that, I kind of hit the next run. So there's this next run option on there that's usually bigger money, and it's after the 5th. So you got 3 innings, right? So a lot of times it's the 9th or no run, and so I'll hit that one usually, or I'll hit no run. But a lot of times you can keep at it till about the 8th.
Nice.
And the other thing I'll tell you is WinBet. Win is the casino thing in Massachusetts here. WinBet has, if you click on a game, if you go to like Oakland, Milwaukee, you click on the tab, specials tab, they have under 7 runs, no team to hit 7 runs, no team to hit 6 runs, no team to hit 5 runs. So if the score is 2-1 in like the 8th inning, it's not going to pay out a tremendous amount, but those teams have scored 2 and 1 run in the first 7 innings of the game. Are they really going to come up and score 5 or 6 runs in the 8th or 9th inning? So I do no team to hit 7 runs, and I put like $30-$40 on it, and it usually comes out. It's only a $5 to $10 win, but at least you're building up your bankroll so that maybe in a week's time you go from like $50 to like $150 or $200, and then you just keep building up your bankroll like that. As we were talking about pre-show, some bets I only do $5 or $10. Some bets I do 100, some bets I do 50, whatever. But some bets I only throw $5 or $10 on it, and it builds up your bankroll if you hit a lot of those bets. So that's something to keep in mind too. You don't always have to put the 100s or 200s on it. You could put the lower amount on it and build up your bankroll slowly, so that if you see a play you like when NFL starts, if you see a play you like in NFL, you have the money, you can throw a little bit more on it. So
you got to be patient. You got to, even if you're doing one bet and watching one game and just betting that game, you got to be patient. You can't just bet every game. That's what I did Friday night. Is I went ham and I ended up losing a bunch, right? So you got to be patient, because that's what I turned into yesterday. And if you're patient, take it. You don't take it slow, but take it a little slower. Don't be betting, 3 different games, because you're not going to pay attention to three different games, especially if you're live betting like I do. So patience is the key.
Yeah, and the thing
and start off, like I hear you guys always talk about the 2 and 3 team parlays or whatever different. Like starting off, should you just try to stick to one thing at a time, or try to put a couple things together?
And I don't even do parlays half the time.
So on MGM, you'll get these little things, multi-sport parlay tokens that'll increase your odds. Like if you bet 2 baseball, you have to do minimum 4 legs. So if you bet 3 baseball games and then you do like Vegas last night, you only do 4. You never go 6 or 8, because those usually don't hit. Right. So if there's no multi-sport parlay boost in your, that they give you, I usually do 2 or 3 legs. And I'll pick like Houston was a
3 or 4. Baseball is the easiest, because there's usually 3 really good teams playing 3 really shitty teams.
Right.
Now, like we were just mentioned, like, I've been putting money on the damn Brewers beating the A's. Well, shit happens, But really every day in baseball to me is one of the easier sports, because you always have one really good team playing a shitty team, and you can parlay 3 good teams and just build up a nice little bankroll for yourself. Tanner, at the top, you mentioned some hockey last night. Is this thing over? Golden Knights up 3-1. Is it over? The Panthers
I don't think it's over yet here. The Panthers made a strong case last night in the second after the second period of they're not going away yet, and they're going to fight every little ounce they did. It was insane. Towards the end there, final 10 seconds, they were around the Vegas goal. They almost had the tie up. If it wasn't for Aiden Hill extending his pad and getting that, the puck ended up hitting his pad. All I had to do was just jump over a little bit, just a little bit of air. He ended up getting on the side of the net as time expired. A big brawl broke out. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, just strong team play going on. There was some sloppy puck play by the Panthers, but for the most part, look, I don't think Florida's going away easily. I'm not going to say it's quite over yet. I don't think it's Vegas's trophy just yet. But, man, like, you got to respect that. If Vegas can just jump out to that two-goal lead by the end of the second period again, I think they'll probably take it. But, again, the Panthers aren't going away, and they're giving everything they got.
I agree with Tanner. I think Florida's going to keep fighting. It feels kind of over though, but it felt over after game 2. To be quite honest, like I mean, the way Vegas just jumped all over them after the first 2 games. But of course, you know, home team hadn't lost yet, so you want to give Florida the benefit of the doubt. They win game 3, so they're back. They made it a series. Last night game was intense. Florida keeps fighting though, but Vegas, you know, Jim had mentioned, you know, shout out to Jim Behringer, obviously. He had mentioned that they just kept coming and there's just so much talent on Vegas, and it just seems like they just have too much for Florida to overcome. But Florida's going to keep on fighting to the very end. But if they do, I think they just win one more and push it to 6. But I don't think they win. I don't think they win 3 out of the next 4. I don't think they can, bro.
I will say this: keep an eye on Kachuk. He's definitely banged up and injured. Number 1,
something's up.
So that's a big injury for Florida. And number 2, Florida was down 3-1 to the Bruins and came back and won the last 3.
Correct.
So them being down 3-1 is nothing foreign to them, and look for them to lay it all out in the line. Bobrovsky could all of a sudden get to be the hottest goaltender you've ever seen, and Florida could win 3 straight, like 2-1, 1-0. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's going to be very difficult for Florida to come back and win 3 straight against Vegas as they're playing right now. So
it will be, but I still like just what I saw last night. The fight, the emotion, the effort from Florida. It just makes it hard to think that it's over versus like a series like the Nuggets and Heat.
Right.
You know, and obviously 2 different sports, but I just feel like, you know, with between Florida and the Heat, I think Florida makes adjustments and they step up a little better than what the Heat have done. So
just speaking of the Heat and Florida, Johnny, it's like Florida on panic alert because both their teams look like they're about to
it's definitely a different vibe than it was just a week or so ago when everybody, and you know, especially, you know, down in Miami, everybody was just so high and, you know, feeling so good about, you know, the Panthers and the Heat being in the finals, and it's all Florida, it's all South Beach and stuff, and you know, a week or so later, and it's like, damn, you know, saying, can we get one out of the 2? So it's been interesting. It's a roller coaster of emotions. I'm sure that most, you know, Heat and Panther fans are going through, but it's been some fun games, man. It's been some battles. We talked about this before the finals, you know, talking about basketball. That I hoped a lot of people would watch because it's going to be good, fun, hard-fought games, and it has been. It's been entertaining.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a good time for sports right now with the 2 finals and baseball getting going and stuff, and you know, it's a good time to be a sports fan. But yeah, I think the Florida fans are definitely feeling a lot different than they did a week or so ago.
Do we forget the Miami Marlins are in 2nd place in the NL?
Bro, they're playing well,
really
man.
Playing well right now.
They're
really playing well.
Over 400. It's the deepest the players batted over 400 this late in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely crushing it. I made the joke though. I said he's batting 400. I said he'll be traded at the deadline for a guy who bats 200 and hits 40 home runs. So,
well, he ain't making all that much money, so they'll hold on to him at least for another year or 2.
Well, I mean, that's the way Marlins handle business, and then that's just like, you know what I mean, like. He's batting 400, but in today's baseball world, they're like, he doesn't hit 200. You know, he's not 30 home runs. He's not line. The guy gets on base. He's batting 400. Nobody does that in today's. Nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
Right.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Insane.
Yeah.
I mean, how disappointed are they going to be if Florida is going to be when the Jacksonville and Dolphins tank this year? You know, I just don't know what they're going to do. We're like, we were winning so long, and then we tank in the NFL season, you know?
I'm waiting for Stephen Ross to get involved here and screw everything up. That's
what I'm man. Don't put that shit out.
No, I don't want him to.
He's the only one that can screw it up, man. Because
that's right. I think Miami's winning the division with or without Dalvin Cook. But
you talked about Stephen Ross, right?
Yeah.
And we just saw the PGA, Live Golf, DP, whatever combination. And the Saudis, you know, they're going to come after the NFL eventually. Does Stephen Ross sell to the Saudis? Is Miami Dolphins team going to be a Saudi team, the first Saudi team, own team?
Why?
Because What else? If they come into,
I thought we was cool, bro. You couldn't say Jacksonville. Let them get a piece of Jacksonville.
Because Stephen
You
Ross,
got to give him my Dolphins.
Stephen Ross they're gonna give him like 20 over the asking price, and Stephen Ross is gonna be like, time for retirement. Thanks, see you later. It's yours.
Nah, I hope not, man. Don't put that into the universe. But I would not be surprised if they try to expand. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna stop at golf.
Oh no,
they've
already talked
try to
about
get
teams.
into the other sports. They're gonna try to get the hooks into the other sports and make money off of that too. But let's hope Stephen Ross ain't that much of a knucklehead. But just pay the check and give Dalvin whatever the hell he wants so that we can.
Where do you guys
make this happen?
Is Miami? Is it Dalvin Cook? Dalvin Cook's headed to Miami. Do we all think that's where he's?
Unless they completely disrespect him with an offer and say like, "Yo, we'll give you $2 million." You know what I'm saying? I don't see why he would go anywhere else, or if Denver like just overwhelms him with the money because they got that Walmart money over in Denver. So
here's
they
John,
could make a ridiculous offer, but I don't see it.
Here's why I think it's Miami. Okay, didn't they just release a big money cornerback?
Yep. Yeah. They released Byron Jones, and that's what gave them the 13.5 after June 1st. They do have them, but they got guys that they got to re-sign. Williams is, Connor Williams is holding out the guard that we signed from Dallas, who played center very well. And I mentioned before the season was over that he was playing so well, maybe get out ahead of it and give him an extension now. Because if he has another great year at center, it's going to be too much for us to pay him the following year. And homeboy is holding out, so they got other moves that they have to make. They got to decide what they're going to do with Christian Wilkins as well. But this, like I made the comment yesterday, they could easily give him a $10 million. They can sign him 2 years, $12 million. Give him a $10 million signing bonus now, so that way he's getting all his money. He's still getting $2 million from Minnesota, so that would be essentially $12 million for this year, and next year you can have it at like $2 million, and then depending on how this season goes, you give them another year to extend it or whatever out, so that you can still make the other moves you need to make on the team. But unless Dalvin like wants $7, $8, $9 million, I don't see why Miami doesn't make it happen. Or like I said, if Denver just comes out with a ridiculous amount of money, but again, it's up to Dalvin. Do you want to play for a possible contender and be in one of the best offenses? Because can you imagine Dalvin Cook with Tyreek and Waddle and, like I mentioned yesterday, Robbie Chosen, Raheem Mostert, like Achane, like there's so much speed and potential there. Plus he gets to stay home, no state tax. Like, do you want to try to do something special in your hometown, or do you want to just get paid? So it's completely up to Dalvin what he wants to do.
I think he can do a little bit of both. They can front load that contract, make a incentive base.
That's what I'm saying, right?
You make it, a bunch of signing bonuses.
And,
you try to lower his, base salary. But
that's what I'm saying. You can give him a $10 million signing bonus, give him a base salary of like $2 million for this year, next year, and you straight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He's already said. I heard a report saying he's not going to take much less money than when he was going to get paid by Minnesota this year.
That was $16 million. I saw Johnny, you guys were on your Let's Talk It with Dan Harris yesterday. And somebody's like, well, nobody, Doofus that was in the comments. I don't remember what show, but he's a doofus, Sam's best friend. And he said, no, they tried to trade him. Well, nobody's going to take $16 million. That's a lot of money for a 27-year-old running back in today's game. What he can do is take 13 to 10 million, especially if you put it in uploaded. It's no reason people aren't going to call the phone because they know he's going to get released later down the road. Right. I'll just wait, not give up the capital. And pay 16 million. What I will do is wait for him to release. I'll reach out to him and try to get him signed for about 10 million, 10 to 13 million, especially in incentives. I think Miami's the best spot. It seems like that's where he wants to go. Scott, do you have, speaking of places wanting to go, is D-Hop at the nursing home, and do you have him tied up there and you're not letting him leave because he left? Sam let him walk out of Nashville, and now he's in visiting the Patriots. And I told you when you were on the call-in show, they can't let D-Hop leave. That deal's give him whatever he wants.
First of all, he's not tied up here. He's not even in Foxborough, number one. Number two, yeah, I agree with you, Nick. You can't let him leave. They have to sign him. If they sign him, then all of a sudden, all bets are off as to how the Patriots season can go. Because now Mac Jones has that reliable number one guy he can throw to in the red zone. You know, Belichick knows how to use those guys, i.e. when he traded for Randy Moss. So he definitely knows how to use those guys. And he'll use D-Hop in a way that will benefit the team.
Yes.
Now, my feeling is if he's in New England, it's a 1-year deal. 1 year, prove-it deal to Belichick, and let's see what you can do. And if you perform the way I think you can perform or know you can perform, we'll try to sign you to a multi-year contract. But I think that's what D-Hop is going to get is this 1, maybe 2-year contract from any team that signs him. And prove it. Let's see you prove it. Let's see you
prove what? I'm so confused on this.
I don't get that either.
There's a narrative, and I heard this on NFL Network. There's a narrative going around the league now that maybe D-Hop has lost a little off his fastball. I don't see it. I can't see it. I don't know where it comes from.
He's lost a lot. He lost a little bit off his fastball because he spent the last 6 games playing with Kyler Murray and God knows who else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So GMs in the league are saying it's going around that he's lost a little bit. Okay.
I agree with
Sam. Nick. My feeling is you just played in Arizona.
They talking to Sam?
Right. You're going to lose everything. You lose a lot with Colt McCoy. So to me, he deserves between 12 and 15 million a year. I don't know if he's going to get it. But that's what he should get.
He's still an upper echelon wide receiver, in my opinion. Wide receiver for any team he is definitely number one wide receiver. He completely changes that offense for New England or a lot of teams, depending on where he goes. But my whole thing is, I see that's a different situation, in my opinion, than the Dalvin Cook. Like, he's taking these visits. Like, so is he just trying to make some money, or is he actually because you ain't winning with the Patriots, bro? Like, you might get third place in the division.
So what he's trying to do with these visits is pump the dollar value of his contract up. He's saying, well, Tennessee wants me, New England wants me. Sense. You know, if he goes on another visit to say, Houston or Cleveland, well, those guys want me. They had me in for a visit. So now if you guys want me, you're going to have to pay $15 million to get me. And that's
to me, all those teams is the same shit, though. I mean, except for maybe Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, that's a squad that could probably do something. Houston, and no offense, shout out to the Just Fans dudes, but he goes to Houston, they may compete for the division, but that's about it. And that's depending on what CJ does. Yep. But if he wants to win, now, Johnny, I'm hollering at Kansas City, not for nothing, Buffalo. Even if you take a little less, you say because he's made money.
Yeah,
he did made a decent amount of money.
He does want to get paid still. Like he doesn't. It's not the major contract he got, before, but he still wants to be, somewhere in the middle to higher pay scale of receivers, which I think he should be still.
Absolutely, I agree that he deserves it.
The impact.
I agree that he deserves it. But again, this is where I see the difference in him and Dalvin. Like I said, from what I've been hearing, reading, and seeing, Dalvin Cook, even though he said he's not going to take a lot, like he ain't stressing the money as much as most people might think. Like he really wants to stay home. So like I said, as long as they don't insult him, but you got to figure, $6 million in Miami with, in Florida with no state income tax compared to 8 or 9 somewhere else, it's almost going to even out, pretty much because of the state taxes. So why not just stay home? So I think Miami has every shot. Like I said, let's say insult him. They should be able to land Dalvin. But if D-Hop wants to be paid like what his stature is, a top, 7 to 10 wide receiver, then there's only gonna be a few teams that can actually afford to. You might as well go to Dallas, bro. Go to Dallas, team up with I know Allen is probably he probably just got a little too excited right there for me saying that, but him with CD Lamb, you put Gallup can go down to the number 3, like where he should be. That would be interesting there.
Well, Gallup would be. Remember, they got Brandon Cooks, so you have Lamb.
Oh, so now imagine that. Imagine D-Hop, Cooks, and CD Lamb. That's quite a trio right there.
What else does Dak need?
I know, and
he needs everything, bro. For all the people that talk about, why do you have to put all these players around quarter? you know,
Why
you
you gotta
want
put
to
it
fill
on
it up,
Mahomes?
right? But you gotta put as much talent as possible around that, because I just don't think he's that great, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Who signed first?
He ends up in two places.
Who signs
Cook
first?
signs
Dalvin?
first.
Huh?
Cook.
Signs first.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it could be just a matter of days, honestly, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see him going to do a bunch of visits and stuff like that. Like, I know there's been talk about Denver and possibly the Jets and stuff like that, but I think it'll happen sometime this week, more than likely. The D-Hop thing, he may be taking a bunch of visits
this week.
I mean, I think if Miami comes to him and says, "Yo, this is what we're gonna do. Why waste time about it? Just get it over with, sign, so that way he can start diving into the playbook." And say, I know running back is, saying whatever, but I think this is a perfect offense for him. But I think he's gonna want to get. I mean, he's been training with them all, all spring anyway, because he trains with the same dude that trains Tua, so they've all been down there training together this whole time anyway.
They all do his name together. Capital T U A.
It's all good, man. My boy, I think he's gonna surprise some people, man. He's gonna play well this year. I think he's gonna stay relatively healthy for the most part, man.
I don't think either one of them signed till after OTAs. I just
that's.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much over this week coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, there might be maybe 2 or 3 more, if there is even that, because there's been talk that Mike McDaniel mentioned that he's only going to do 6 or 7 out of the 10 that they're allowed to have in the collective bargaining agreement. So we might have just gotten done with the last mandatory mini camps and stuff. So,
well, the one team I think, Hopkins, you got to watch out for is the Jets.
Yeah, that would
no talk about them.
They said no.
I understand that, but they wanted
that's coach speak, though, man. You never know.
Aaron wanted Odell Beckham, so Aaron Rodgers goes to management and says, "Hey, let's try to get D-Hop in there." I think they'll at least entertain the notion of bringing him in and seeing.
He would have to take less money then, bro.
He would,
because
no doubt
they got to get Quentin done. Like, the Jets have to sign some of their people too. So I don't see them spending, especially if he wants top notch wide receiver money. That's going to be hard. I mean, of course, they could always manipulate it and make it work somehow. But
if he goes to the Jets, does that put them in the KC, Buffalo, Cincinnati league? I think so.
I think you have to. I think you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
I guess if we're gonna go back, right?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that there's a lot of teams that have a lot of good talent. I mean, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is 1-1. You know what I'm saying? So Kansas City is always gonna have that one spot there. But as far as talent on other teams, there's a lot of teams that have really, really good talent across the board. But you know what I'm saying? Kansas City has 15. So you're gonna have to stack up your shit, you know what I'm saying, as much as possible. But yeah, so giving Aaron Rodgers a D-Hop to go with that, all that young talent that's around there, that would be quite a mix right there. So that would put them in the conversation with KC and Cincinnati and shit. But we'll see what happens there. But ultimately, it's, even with D-Hop there, it's gonna take a team effort just to get through that division, let alone the AFC. The AFC is ridiculously stacked, bro.
It's stupid,
insane,
right?
Bro.
It's
insane.
It is.
Top to bottom. And we'll once the season gets closer, we'll make all our picks and things like that. But what could end tomorrow night, and that's the NBA. It's over, boys. I told you that the Nuggets I don't see a path for a Heat to even win Game 6 or Game 5 tomorrow. Puts it to 6. I think Denver wraps it up here at home. What's your thoughts there, Tanner?
I agree. I've said Nuggets in 5 since the beginning, before the series started. This finals started here. Look, Joker, just like the Lakers ran into, just like the Suns ran into, it's a brick wall. It's a brick wall with that team right now. Their depth is so great. You're going to get one of the Browns to do phenomenal stuff off the bench, either play defense or score for you. Aaron Gordon, fabulous number 3 on that team there right now. He's playing lights out. And then, of course, Joker and Jamal Murray. And they don't even have to score the 20 plus to be able to win games. All they got to do is play the other two facets of basketball, of rebounding, second chance points, and your assist, getting the open guys the ball. And if Porter Jr. can just show up one game, it's a complete blowout against the Heat. The Heat are worn out. You can tell they're worn out. And Scott and I and JG talked about it yesterday on In the Hoop. There's no reason why minus 2 players of this Heat team should be worn out. It should just be Bam and Jimmy that are worn out right now because they're the ones who've been playing the most minutes by far in the last two series here. So, look, Jimmy's worn out. Bam's worn out. I mean, you're going against Joker. You got to be tired. We saw AD the way he was too. I think it's just game over. I just don't think the Heat have enough. Even if Tyler Hero was to come back today or whatever, it's just not going to happen, dude. I just think it's a brick wall team, a team that's too balanced and doing too well, too much chemistry. Like Nuggets and 5 easy.
Do you think it caught up to Miami as far as like the difference in talent finally caught up to them? So that nice run and all the talk about all these undrafted guys, and you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to crunch time, where's Martin at now? Where's the guys that they were all talking about in the first couple games?
The better matchup was the Celtics. And I'll keep saying this. The Heat won the series. The better matchup was the Celtics.
Yep.
You think
agree, but
the Celtics would have gave Denver more of a challenge?
No doubt. No doubt.
They have more talent, right? Like they have more talent, but they just got outcoached and outworked by the Heat.
By
like
the Heat. Yeah.
The Heat squeezed everything, all the juice out of it to get here. And there's just nothing left in the tank. Like the Nuggets, top to bottom, their roster, top to bottom, is better. I mean, their 2 best players, the Nuggets' 2 best players, are better than the Heat's 2 best players. And then that doesn't include guys 3 through,
whatever else, right?
Yeah, because the others have stepped up big time. Aaron Gordon has been huge. You mentioned Bruce Brown. Even Kadavius Caldwell-Pope, has played a little better in this last game. But Aaron Gordon defensively and what he's doing on the boards, he's doing all the dirty stuff that they needed him to do. They're just more of a complete team than Miami is right now. So I mean, I had Denver winning in 6, but they could easily end this in 5. To be quite honest, man.
There's no answer on Miami's end for Jokic/Murray. There just is not an answer that defensively they can present to those 2 guys. And now Bruce Brown is coming off the bench and is doing his thing that he's been doing for a while that nobody's paid attention to. So, and Aaron Gordon, I mean, 27 points in game 4. Where is that? If that happens again in game 5, Miami has no chance.
And look out, the second and third quarters of the Denver Nuggets have been dominating the second and third quarters in the last couple games. So if we see similar to that again, it'll be over. It'll be over in 5.
As I said on In the Hoop yesterday, if the first quarter, if Denver gets out to a double-digit lead, it could get ugly very quickly in this game.
It could.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
We'll find out about that whole Heat culture and stuff. Do they keep on grinding and fighting, or do they just say, we're just not good enough to fight with these guys?
If I'm the Heat, I'm calling Portland. They got to bring in another scorer, like to get past this hump of like, to win the chip, or even to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals next year. They need to go out and get another legit scorer. I'm calling Dame Lillard and saying, come to Miami, whatever we got to do. The next 5 years, draft picks, Kyle Lowry.
No, they're gonna want They're gonna want Hero, bro.
Nah, you try to keep Hero, you keep Bam.
If I'm Portland, I'm not giving them up for Kyle Lowry and a bunch of picks. Nah, man, I want some young studs, bro. Tyler Hero. I mean, as much like I said, Caleb Martin has been a good story, and Duncan Robinson is a good, decent player. But no, if you're gonna trade Dame Lillard, I want your future, which is Tyler Hero, bro.
Do you give up Bam
at the very least?
Do you give up Bam for a Lillard?
No, I try to keep. I'm just trying to. No. If I'm Miami, I'm trying to.
You got to keep Bam. You got to keep Bam and Jimmy. You know what I'm saying, and then see if you can get the third guy there. You know what I'm saying. I mean, look how far they've made it without Tyler. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you're actually willing to give that up and a couple other pieces and draft picks or whatever for Dame, I think Dame, Jimmy, and Bam, that's a pretty good threesome right there.
But here's the deal that as we talked about yesterday on In the Hoop, you have to make the dollars match up.
Right.
So you may have to trade a Tyler Hero to Portland or two pieces to get Lillard in. But I agree with what Nick said. Miami needs that extra player that can score to get over the hump here.
They need a true number 2. Bam is a 3, bro. Bam is a 3. He's not a number 2. Well, he's a 3. Yeah, he's a good defender, rebounder. He can do all that stuff. But as far as a stud dude, he's not a number 2 to win a championship. He could be a great number 3. So that's what I'm saying. You get a Dame. I mean, who else besides Dame do you think would be somebody that, you know what I'm saying, that they could realistically try to get?
Trying to think here.
I think they need a true point. I think I'm with you. They need a point guard that can score.
The two big names I've heard that could be on the block are Dame Lillard and possibly, I don't think this name is going to come up, Jaylen Brown of the Celtics. Those are the two names I keep hearing over and over again as possible trade candidates. I don't know if
Jaylen Brown, of course, but I don't see Boston making that.
They won't trade it to Miami. But I'm just saying those are the two names right now that you hear. Now, names will come up as the offseason goes on, but as of right now, it's Lillard and Jaylen Brown are the two names that are coming up more.
Bro, if you're Boston, why aren't you calling Portland? Not for nothing. I think Dame Lillard is the perfect person to help. I mean, I would assume they would stay with Tatum, but he's a true point guard. Marcus Smart is a good, point guard, a good defensive guy, whatever, but they don't have a real point guard that can run the offense for them in crunch time when they start to get kind of all dismantled there towards the end of games and stuff like that. Somebody that can actually run the offense for them. They need somebody like that, man. So
this is the other rumor that's coming out up here in Boston. Is that the Celtics might try to go after Chris Paul?
That makes sense if he can stay healthy in the postseason, because the thing is that
he'd be disappearing 3.
Right, but he'd be a perfect mentor, older guy to be able to calm things down, in tight situations, run the offense. Because I think they need somebody that can handle the ball so that Tatum and Brown can kind of play off of him more.
The problem is the Celtics at crunch time. Well, Paul Pierce won't be there in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals because he'll be hurt. So It doesn't really matter. So I don't think that's the right answer. I mean, that's better than CP3 does make sense. I think that for CP3, it's the Lakers. Lakers are somehow the Suns rework a deal. They're looking at maybe cutting him, trading him, but they got to lower his contract somehow or extending him and figuring out money-wise because he's not a max player anymore. CP3's not. But
didn't he he already got released, right?
No, not yet.
No, but he will be released.
But he will be released. I mean, if he just gets released,
no, they did officially release him.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he can just go sign with. I mean, that makes total sense for him to go ring chasing and go with LeBron and see if he can make it work there.
But
what about a Cobe White from Chicago? He's a restricted free agent this year.
No,
yeah, I would.
He's not a guy that's
for Boston. You talking about?
No, for Miami.
For Miami?
Oh, yeah. Cobe White's a good scorer. He's just a good bench player. He's not a starter. He's just a good bench player. They got guys like Cobe White.
Yeah, true. Zach LaVine may be something he would be interesting down there with them.
Yeah, that's a lot of trade bait. I'm just looking at free agents right now, and Trey Jones would be the next one for me. In the
but none of those really move the needle though like that.
No, because your only other ones outside of Chris Paul, of course, for free agents is Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert. So
Kyrie.
Karis LeVert ain't a bad player, bro.
No, but I don't want him running the point.
No, right.
If you're Miami, you need to find a scorer that's going to average 15 to 20 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of those guys average 15 to 20 a game?
I think LeVert can do. I think LeVert can do that.
I think Russ would fit in that Miami culture perfect. That's the thing.
I think so too.
That's a good name, bro.
Imagine him.
That's a good one.
Because like those two dudes have the same mindset. I'm gonna give you everything, especially Russ. I'm gonna give you everything I got every night. And then Russ can defer to Jimmy and those shooters because Russ likes to drive. So they got shooters, Duncan Robinson, Vincent, those guys, Strus. Like you put those guys on the corner while Russ drives to the basket and can dish. Like
that's a good call right there, Nick, man.
I think Russ to Miami makes a lot of sense as far as if he wants to catch a ring. Now he might want to re-sign with the Clippers because there's a reunion that could possibly there. But he's a guy that fits to me, their culture, their style of play, because he's tough and gritty, and and he's got a little chip on his shoulder, just like everybody else down there. I want to get back to this series. Is that Big Lumber and SOB Jokic? Is he the best player on the NBA right now? If we were about to start a draft, and you said I want to take this guy number one, are you taking Jokic number one, or is it somebody like Giannis, KD?
Yeah, I'm not taking him number one still. I think Luka would be my number one.
To build a franchise like going forward, or for one season?
Let's just say going forward. Let's just say building a franchise. You have just say here in St. outside of St. I live outside of St. Louis. St. Louis gets a franchise NBA team. They say, okay, you get any pick. Hypothetically, you get any pick of the NBA. Your first pick is going to be what or who?
I mean, that's not a bad choice. I mean, I think I would lean with Tanner though and go Luka only because he's a point and he controls the action a lot. He needs to mature. He needs to grow the hell up though. You know what I'm saying? But I would understand if somebody wanted Jokic. I mean, I think he is he's got to be the best player in basketball right now. So I mean, that's not a bad first pick. But like they said, Giannis is still out there. I mean. But yeah, I would say I would probably go Luka, honestly.
I'm trying to rattle my brain to see if I come up with a second guy, but it's Luka. For me, it's Luka. He can score inside, outside. He rebounds the ball. It's got to be him. Has to be.
Like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong with a Giannis or you know what I'm saying, or Jokic or. I mean, I guess KD, you know what I'm saying? If you're looking for just a few years, but for actual like
you're gonna get
young guy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, Luka's the future of this league, bro. If he can, like I said, if he can mature and stop being whiny and stuff and actually but it looks like he lost some weight and he's in shape and stuff. So if he actually comes in motivated to play, man, I mean, it's hard to stop him. He's so big at that position. You know what I'm saying? So he could post guys up. Luka can do it all, man. He's fun to watch, bro.
I know LeBron's the best player in the world, stuff like that. But I think you got to take those guys when you're starting a franchise and you got, like Nick just asked, you got to take those guys and put them off to the side because you only get 2 or 3 more years left of them.
LeBron may only have 1 year left.
He may only have 1 year left. You know, him waiting for his son may never happen. But so you got to take a Durant, Kyrie, LeBron, and you got to put them off to the side. You're never gonna.
I wouldn't take Kyrie at all.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either.
Yeah, no.
I would not either.
I don't want him nowhere near my team.
Too much of a headache to me. So
I would probably take Luka, but I do think right now playing, I think Jokic is probably the best player in the NBA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree totally with that.
Yeah, I agree.
He does it all. To me, I was a big Giannis guy, and I still love the Giannis, but I just think Jokic, his passing is such precise. And he just does it all. Like he's old school. Like that's a guy. When there's certain players in this league that can just play. You could have played him in any era, and he would have been really good. Like Jokic is a guy in the 90s. You know, when there was Hakeem and Shaq and Duncan and Robinson and Ewing. Like he's a guy that would have held his own, maybe better than a lot of those guys because of his passing and his shooting. But he can take it to the hole. He can drive. It's not pretty, by God. No,
he brings the ball. He brings the ball up court, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's definitely one of the best. And you know what I'm saying? We talked about this before, but yeah, I am going to be having my top 5 list. So we'll that's going to be an interesting topic right there when we talk about centers all time and stuff like that. Does he crack anybody's top 5? But we'll talk about that at another time. I know we got hour 2 to come up. We got a guest, and we got We got
Hour
procedures. We got
two.
procedures
Let's
and stuff to do.
go.
I know the producers. I can see the steam starting to come out of his ears a little bit because he's ready to.
All right, hey, real quick. So we all got nuggets tomorrow night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think it's
Real
over.
quick.
Go ahead. Let's get this
Oh.
ad, Johnny.
I think Tanner's doing the first one, unless you wanted me to do the underdog one, Tanner. It's up to you.
Go ahead for it, Johnny. Go ahead.
All right,
Actually,
well-
do your owner's box. Do your owner's box.
All right. So Owner's Box, it's a daily fantasy app. It is similar to FanDuel, but you got more chances to win because there's a lot more games on the Owner's Box fantasy app. So definitely download that app. If you put in a promo code LTS, they will match you up to $500 on the deposit. It doesn't get better than that. You don't have to put $500, people, if you just want to put $100, $200, or whatever. But they will match it up to $500 on the deposit. Again, the promo code is LTS, and the fantasy app is Owner's Box. So download the app. Again, it's similar to FanDuel, but there's a lot more games, so there's a lot more chances to win. Definitely get that app. Take advantage of the promo code LTS, and get your fantasy craving, taken care of with the Owner's Box right there. It's a good deal, man. 500, match it up to $500. It doesn't get much better than that, man.
Nice. Yeah, perfect.
Before we bring on our guest, Scott, go ahead and I know you got that your question we're trying to get to for our giveaway.
So I'm gonna change it. One question today, one question tomorrow night, because I'm not picking the winners till next Sunday. So
I like it.
The first question is this: Jim Behringer was our initial guest on the Let's Talk Sports Show, our first guest. What team's banners does Jim have hanging over his head when he comes on?
Nice.
And anybody can answer in the chat or the private room. And then I'll ask the second question tomorrow night.
All right, again, folks, for that giveaway that Scott's doing, he's got two options to get to the Warrior Fantasy Football League. You get into the league, you donate $25. It goes to children's charity. Scott has two openings for that. So if you want in that fantasy league, answer Scott's question today, and tomorrow. You see right there at the bottom of the screen. So, and then we'll give out the first two people to get those questions right. So the first question's today. Tune in tomorrow night. Scott will have another question, and you answer that. First two people will be entered into that Warriors League and become two legends. And speaking of legends, last night I was dead freaking wrong on all my UFC picks. I mean, outside of one, Charles Oliveira, thank God. I mean, but the GOAT, the women's champion, the GOAT, double champ, she put the gloves in the middle of the ring, said, I'm tired. I told you guys before the show, I was right. I said, this is her last fight. I told you guys that. I did get that part right. I just didn't. But she beat Aldana last night. I mean, she has cleaned house. There's not a female fighter out there that, is at the top of the level that can say that they fought her and that she beat them all. Even if she lost to them, she revenged their loss. And to talk about it with us this morning is none other than a man who's a legend himself, one of the several hosts of the Rec Room Sports. Give it up for the very first time on our show, the young boy, Whit. What is up, my man? How you doing? Good morning.
What up?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, let me tell you something. I'm so privileged to be here. I messed up the first time because of timing, Eastern Standard, Central, Pacific. I don't know where I'm located right now. I'm somewhere on the coast of a place that I normally am not at, but I'm so glad to be on the show with you guys, man. I'm listening to all these takes. Big shouts out to Rec Room Sports. Big shouts out to Jay on the MIC. Jay wanted me to let everybody know your houses are surrounded. Do not mention Damian Lillard leaving Portland anymore. I just got that tip. So any red dots on any screens, it's out of my control. Please stop mentioning Damian Lillard.
Hey, we're gonna have Jay on Thursday night, so we'll probably, he can, we'll negotiate there and save our lives as we tell him Dame's out of Portland. But I would thoughts last night. Amanda Nunes just absolutely crushes Aldana 1 through 5 rounds, puts the gloves down. I mean, there's no comparison. It's greatest women's fighter all time.
I mean, definitely, man. When I think about my last day at my job, I want to kick over the computer screen. I want to throw my keyboard to the other side of the office. I want to say F you to my boss, but then give him a hug and a big kiss. Like, that's pretty much what happened last night. Aldana, prior to now, had some matches in which her striking was her main course, and it showed that she wanted to stand up. But for some odd reason, the jaw of the champ, the double champ, like you mentioned earlier, is just too solid. And in reality, I give Aldana so much credit because, she took some really hard shots.
She's got a chin, bro.
Definitely. And I mean, she got taken down. She caught some really nasty elbows. She didn't quit. She didn't let it go. I think maybe it was the third round. Like she was pretty much dazed on after the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that her head hit the mat pretty hard. And then all of a sudden it was like, look, just take this ground and pound for about 7 more seconds. And she made it through. So I think that was a really befitting match for Nunez, of course. It's one of those things where I saw Bodkins mention, hey, this might be her last one, and I saw it several other times. DC mentioned it in one of the pre-fight shows or whatever, and I said, man, maybe this might be where she ends it at, because it's tough enough to be the champ, but just like you said, she had pretty much clean house, man. I mean, what you gonna do? Just revisit all these women and take them on again? But I'm saying, since she was 19,
Mm-hmm.
what a career! You can't really go out on top any other way. A lot of fighters who are champions don't get a chance to go out like that, like with a dominant win.
Really, you don't get to go out like outside of John Elway, and there's a few others. Like, there's not very many times that athlete retires out on top. In fighting in any sport, to go out on top, and she gets to do that last night.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and I was really impressed also by Oliveira's fight. Oliveira has a capacity to put on a fantastic show pretty much every fight. I don't know whether he's going to choke the guy out or if we're just going to knock him out. Last night, obviously, we saw how that took place, and he pretty much had it going from the first 2 rounds. Oliveira seems like a fighter which Makhachev and him, like they're polar opposites, you know what I mean? And it seems like, of course, that they're headed into another match to see who's really the champ. I mean, if you're from Dagestan, I know you wrestle bears, okay? But if you're from Brazil, I know your jiu-jitsu has been going on since you've been in the womb. So it's one of those things where I'm really looking forward to seeing it when it happens. But I mean, and Bodkins, man, kudos to you, because let me tell you something. You put out those picks, you stuck with it, you roll with it. Yeah, you didn't get them right, but at least the first 2 or 3, I was like, oh, you might have got it. But it turned out that Canada. Big shouts out to Canada.
6-0, right? Something like that.
6-0.
Yeah, they were 2 for 2.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun night. That Oliveira fight was really good. Back to the Nunez one. I mean, I hear you. I give props to the Aldana. She showed that she had a chin. She actually hit Nunez with an overhead right in that first round, and you thought, okay, they're gonna be battling here, but it almost seemed like the champ kind of like shook it off, and Aldana was like, well, yo, I just hit her with one of my hardest shots, and saying she basically smiling at me. And it seemed like she was just scared to let her hands go after that. But it looked like Nunez could have taken her out at any round, because she dropped her to the ground a couple of times and then just stood there and let her get up just to kind of keep the beat down going. So I mean, she was just in total command. And props to Nick for sticking with his picks there. But when he mentioned that she was talking about retirement and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, if you calling her the GOAT, then that means I feel bad for this girl right here, because she's about to destroy her, and then that's how you just end it, you know what I'm saying, and drop the mic, for lack of a better way. But that was well done with the belt and the gloves and stuff like that. I I was super happy for her. But I just couldn't see if she's the GOAT. I don't see her losing her last fight. Like she's gonna put on a show, and then I mean she was smiling at the girl. You know what I'm saying, like most of the fight. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like my wife was even mentioning it. She was like, "Yo, she's smiling at her, man. That has to be scary if you're on the other end of a fight and your opponent's smiling at you." You know,
I was just about to say that, man. That's got to be kind of scary. Like
right.
You know, I just gave you my toughest round ever,
right.
And when you get off the stool, you stand up and you smile. Like yeah, that's it. I think that's the real air out.
I think because the last 2 fights she did that to Juliana Pena, where it's like she could have finished her really from the minute to the beginning of the bell to the end of the bell. She did that last night without Don. Was she? You think Nunez knew, like, hey, I'm gonna give these people one last little these last 25 minutes of me showing greatness? Like she could have finished Aldana at any point. I felt like last night, and she did the same thing to Juliana Pena. Was like, I'm so good. Like there's nothing you can do right now. I'm not scared of you. I don't even have to finish you because I just know I'm just gonna beat you to death. It's like I said this on Thursday's show. It's like a cat just keep playing with the dead mouse and just won't eat it and kill it. And just keeps playing with her food. That's how I felt last night, even when we beat Juliana Pena.
I think that's a great analogy, bro. Just like you know, we all saw that she had maybe 3 or 4 takedowns in like the second and third round, and she stood up. And to me, that shows you her mental capacity for her fight awareness. She doesn't want to end the fight on the ground. I want to end the fight standing up. I want to knock you out. I want to give the people what they want. I want to give Dana what he wants. When they show this 10 years from now, when they show this at my retirement, my last fight, I knocked you out. But I really saw like that maturity thing that everybody talks about. Oh, they getting old, you know, you got a baby now. That I think seriously, they mentioned it like 2 or 3 times post fight. You know what I'm saying? Her daughter's getting older, and she has another daughter on the way, if I'm not mistaken, with her wife. I was like, that's cool, you know. And to me, and of course, all of us, we're all men, we're all getting older. To me, I think that's cool when you got something to work harder for and another level, children, whatever. I don't care, you know what I'm saying. Of course, what type of relationship you're in or who you in it with. Like if you got something else to work in a different setting for, I think that's great. And I said, man, and I noticed it really when in between rounds she was waving at her wife. Y'all saw that? Yeah, she was waving at her wife, and I was like, yeah, nah, that's not a killer. But it's cool. It's cool. And I really think that when you see that type of representation in sports, in mixed martial arts, and boxing, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times, you know, these fighters, they go through so much where, you know, they're cutting weight, they're spending 6 weeks away from their families, they're going through 2, sometimes 3 fights a year. That's tough. So especially for a woman, I would think to go out on top, you know what I'm saying? We didn't get to see Ronda Rousey go out like that. Ronda Rousey got kicked in the face. She never came back after that. You know what I mean? Her marriage pretty much fell apart after she realized she could be defeated by somebody. You know, the judo throw wasn't working. But you know, but in Nunez's case, I was like, man, she's not taking any losses. You know, damage wise, I think her last fight might have been the worst she's ever went through 5 rounds. You know, but in the end, I think this was a great way to go out. And Dana White, man, big shouts out to Dana White. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Dana White put out a flip phone. Y'all saw that?
No, he didn't.
Nunez went on the side of the ring, kissed Dana White on the head. Dana White was like, "Yeah, she's quitting. It's over." but it was you know, because you could do all kinds of stuff with these smartphones. When you got that flip phone, can't nobody get you. You know what I'm saying? So he said, "All right, it's over. Cancel that next fight." She said she's not coming back. All right, bye.
All right, Scott, you still rocking her flip phone, ain't you, Scott?
No. I have the
Nokia.
I've upgraded. The nursing home gave me a new phone, so I've upgraded. So I'm all set.
Those old Nokias with the light, behind the light.
Yeah. Listen, those things can take a pounding. Okay.
And they never died. They never died.
No.
I want to say this about Nunez too. Kudos to her all because she said it. I knew I was retiring as soon as I signed the contract, and she never brought it up. She could have made this like a big thing all about her and her retirement.
Yeah.
like, and they could have made this a big thing, but kudos to her for like keeping that kind of close to the vest somewhat. And that way it kind of gave Aldana also, she was already on the B side, right? Like, you're going up against it, but that would have even put her more on the B side, probably put her on the C side, because then you got Nunez and then her retirement and all that. So like kudos to Nunez to kind of like, hey, give her opponent some, shine and not make it all about her and saying, hey, I'm out after this and everything else. So kudos to Nunez for that, and respect to her. Legendary Cruz. She beat everybody. I mean, I ran through all her opponents. I mean, she's been in this game long enough. She beat Ronda Rousey. She beat Holly Holm. She's beaten me.
Holmes.
She beat every female bantamweight fighter you could possibly think of. Knocked the shit out of Chris Cyborg. Like anybody that you could think of, she has beaten at this level, at the top of the level. She's an absolute legend in the game. To me, the greatest women's fighter all time. I do want to go to the co-main, which you went real quick. You mentioned Charles Oliveira. That was a heck of a fun fight. Dana kind of said in the aftermath was like, well, that fight, him and Islam should be next. Well, who else is Charles going to fight? Because he has beaten everybody in the top 5. Like, he beat Michael Chandler. He's beaten Dustin Poirier. He's beaten Justin Gaethje. He beat Beneil. Right. Like, the only person he ain't beat was Islam. I mean, this guy has had a run within the last few years. Beat Tony Ferguson. Like, his run here, to me, is one of the greatest runs that, he had a championship even and lost, but his run here in the last, 3-4 years has been impeccable with the names he has beaten, and beat another great fighter last night.
I mean, just like you mentioned, man, when you put together a resume in fighting, it's kind of hard because, going up that ladder, especially in the UFC and in that division, like the names that you mentioned just now, those guys were at the top of the tops at one point. Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje has not won a post-fight bonus in all of his fights. That's somebody he had to tangle with, and of course, you know what I'm saying. Oliveira comes out on the other side, and when we talk about somebody like Islam Makhachev, although the Dagestani ratio of fighters has kind of surfaced, at one point in time, because I've been watching, UFC MMA period for like a really long time, in my opinion. At one point in time,
like we had a wave of Brazilians who were at the top.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. It was Brazil. Everybody was from Brazil.
Of the Dagestanians.
Right, and that's exactly my point, man. Like, for a while, if your fighter was from Brazil, you had to worry about him. There was a possibility he was going to put you in a move and pull your elbow out the socket or something crazy. But now the Dagestani wrestling and literally, it's ridiculous how good of wrestlers that they are. But you got certain fighters who are transforming the industry into saying, look, not only can we come from this country and put you on the ground, but if you want to stand up, we're not going to take that lightly either. And I really see the idea of, if y'all paid another thing, that happened, and I'm not like a linguist or anything like that, but at the end of Nunez's fight, she said something to all the Brazilian fighters.
Yes, I was just thinking that, about to say that.
Yeah.
She was like, "Come and represent, come get this." Yeah, she was telling them, "Come get this," because she was saying this. She was the last Brazilian champ or something. She said so. Yeah, I was literally just thinking that when you were talking about that.
Right, and that to me was like a call to arms or something, man. Because I'm pretty sure Dana White has a way of including his his champions and his best fighters and a lot of things post career. I'm saying, a la DC. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in what's going on right now, if we see Amanda, possibly doing, fight analysis,
stuff like that. Yeah, nice.
Or maybe even, you know what I'm saying, being a linguist in fight analysis to attract a better crowd, because of course, you know what I'm saying, you got multiple languages that watch the UFC. I can imagine like them putting her on there. And so when you tie that in with Oliveira, who has another storied career. Even though he lost the belt, that's a career that you can't really just disqualify and say, hey, look, and once again, if he's gonna, I can pretty much say there's nobody else for him to fight except for the champ. When you go that route, even if he loses, even if he loses again, he's pretty much still the number one in his weight class ever, wins wise. I think 15 submissions, if I'm not
He's got
mistaken.
the most finishes in UFC history.
Right, yeah, there you go. And I know he's tops in submissions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he is the number one submission in the UFC history as well.
there we go. So I mean, I'm pretty sure when you put those together, he's got to go right back to the top. There's nothing else for him to do, and for me, I feel like that loss woke him up. You know what I mean? Dariush, I can't lie. I was a big Dariush fan going into the fight. Not necessarily saying he was going to win, but that it was going to be way more competitive. But Dariush has a wild streak. I want to say when it comes to fighting, and he left his jaw out there like twice, and of course Oliveira took advantage of it. So but that's the championship mentality. When you see the weakness out there, he had an opportunity to take him in the first round. It didn't really go that way. Darius lasted that 10 seconds on the ground was. Whew, I'm watching them. They was like, "Oh my God, Darius, go to the corner." He was like, "Yeah, which corner? That corner? Which one?" So I really like, once again, when you got that fight presence, that presence in the ring to go. Okay, he's not done, but I'm going to finish him. You can see like there's a gap between the top and the bottom. Somebody else that I like to say that has that same type of fight acumen will be John Jones. John Jones knows, okay, look, he's almost done, but I'm gonna give him maybe half a round before I try to knock him out. And Oliveira, is another one. But hey, big shouts out to everybody. Oh, and that mallet fight, that was another one I thought was really
that
cool.
was fun, man. That was a fun fight.
The
Right.
Durs opening card, the Durs, Anders, and I forget who it was.
What is his name? What is his name?
Barrio.
Yeah,
Mark Andre.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good fight.
Okay, Mark Anders, Burial. That was a good one. I really was like, I forgot Mark Anders used to play linebacker for Alabama like 4 years ago. I was like, wow, okay, well, we see where he's going. Dan Ige and Landwehr. I don't know if y'all saw my tweet, but I was definitely like, big shouts out to Landwehr coming out with the with the Yellow Wolf, and Dan Ige with the Hollywood Hulk Hogan ring walk music. Like it was a stacked card. And then you got Mallet and Fugit. Once again, Canada came out on top. Everybody mentioned that AKA guillotine choke that they're famous for. Uriah Faber was famous for it. If you get dazed and you fall down, they're going for your neck. That's it. Like, all of the fighters in their gym do the same thing. If you get dazed, you fall down. If you're not paying attention and your neck is available, they'll go for your neck. Out. So I thought really for a card in Canada, Dana White and the rest of the promotion did an awesome job putting it together.
I thought the card was weak, like as far as like the names, right? Like when you
name wise, you're right.
The card was weak, but those shout out, like the card was weak, but by God, the card delivered. Like
it was entertaining, man. It was very entertaining.
It was very entertaining. There wasn't one fight where you watched especially the main event or the main card. All of it was entertaining. Like every fight those fights was entertaining. So while like I trashed the card on Thursday, said, hey, this is probably the weakest card of the year so far, and you can't convince me otherwise. Kudos to those fighters saying, oh, y'all thought it was weak card. We showed we could still put on a show, and it was incredible. I thought all 5 fights were incredible. Unfortunately, the picks didn't go my way outside of Carlos Oliveira. Let me ask you this. I mean, that fight's probably going to get booked, Oliveira Islam, in October. I don't see anybody else who wins that fight? Is it Ann Steele or is it Ann New and Oliveira gets that belt back?
That's a tough one, man, because when you put on your speculation hat, you know what I'm saying? I don't got my crystal ball right here. Normally I get really closer to the fight and I can tell, but in my opinion, just in my opinion, I think that losing the belt was a wake up call for Oliveira. He was, and this is me, and I'm not gonna say I wouldn't do this, but when I start taking pictures in linen pants with a tiger at the beach, I'm losing a little bit of my edge. You know what I'm saying? I'm a bald headed man. You know what I'm saying? But if I get some money and I blonde out my beard, just to go to go to Colombia or something like that, South America, I might be losing my edge. I think that it's a wake up call. Though these last two fights were a wake up call for him. A lot of the information that I was seeing, because I follow a lot of people on Twitter as far as MMA goes, a lot of the information I was getting was he was referring back to how he originally won the belt, which was like, I'm not doing nothing, I'm not out, I'm not that good, let's train hard, let's eat right, let's practice, let's diet, all of that. And although to a professional, or even to us, that sounds really regular, like, yeah, I'm a fighter, but no, when you get to a place like Oliveira was, it almost probably to him seemed commonplace to get into the ring and know you're going to win.
Yeah,
And
right.
but to get there you go.
Yeah.
I'm out here kicking it with the tiger, and I swear it's another one where he's like somewhere at night.
Yeah, walking with the tiger. He got the tiger on the leash.
Right? Yeah, I swear it's another one. He's like walking with the tiger at night. Like how crazy is that? But but I think he regained a little bit of that through being humbled in that last fight. And so
he looked possessed in that fight last night, man. So
yeah.
I hear exactly what you're talking about, bro.
And I honestly want to see Oliveira go out on top. Makhachev is young. Oliveira goes out, ain't nobody else to fight. Like, that's it. And then now we got Dagestani champion number 2, or possible number 2. You know what I mean? So I really want Oliveira to win. If, like you said, if it's October, November, I know it's going to be towards the end of the year.
It's going to be in October. Usually that they save Islam for those cards.
Right. Yeah. Definitely October. If that's the case, I want to say Oliveira wins, but it's going to be Oliveira winning through points. It's not going to be a knockout. I don't see it. If it's not a submission, it's going to be points, because that wrestling style that they have, that all the Dagestanis have, is hard to get through. So, your takedown defense has to be better. Your hands have to be better. And of course, we already know Oliveira's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist. So it's not as though he's not. And we saw that last night, because he did get put on his back.
And he was okay there. Hey, he welcomes fights on his back.
Yes. And so that's what I'm saying. If he gets into the situation with Makhachev and he gets put on his back, I think in the last fight he was least aggressive, the least aggressive person when he was on his back. Last night he was on his back like, yeah, all right, I'm about to elbow the crap out of you. Just bring your head this way, okay? And I thought that was the highlight of the fight was, look, Oliveira is down, but he is not just going to let you swing on him. And I think Bodkins and I had a conversation when the Makhachev fight happened, and we was like, yeah, the wrestling, and Oliveira was on his back and he was not producing any points, none. And I think that's really what killed him in that last fight. So I see Makhachev going down, man. And if Oliveira stays on this type of path, to be honest.
Two questions about last night. One, who in your mind stock rose the greatest based on what happened last night? Number two, who steps in and takes over the Nunez spot in terms of champion? Who do you think?
That's tough. That's a good one.
Pull up the rankings, the UFC women's bantamweight rankings real quick.
Yeah, I'm about to say we got to look at the rankings.
Wouldn't the Pena girl? Isn't she still ranked number 1?
Yeah. Pena got the broken wrist. She's out for a little while, right?
She got a broken rib, so she should come back. I think she would be their first choice because as far as like fighting in that title fight, because number one, Juliana Pena, I told you guys on Thursday, she can sell. She can talk on the stick with the best of them. I think probably the best women's talker. So she'll talk her way and promote a fight. I think
and I don't want to sound too, you know, manly or sexist or whatever, but she ain't bad to look at neither.
no.
You know,
that never hurts. It never hurts.
That's a part of the promotion. When she is not fighting, she is not bad to look at. You know, let's say when we're looking at the bantamweight rankings,
do you think they'd go Holly Holm?
It could be. Pena already beat Holly Holm. I think it could be Juliana Pena versus Raquel Pennington. I really think that.
I was thinking Pena, if anything, right? Because she beat Nunez.
Yes, I think it's Pena because she was supposed to be in this spot last night and got hurt. So I think it's definitely Pena, and it's just kind of, I think probably either Pennington or it could be Holly Holm because it's a name. Holly just come off a win. So, but Raquel Pennington.
That's another one I'm looking at for sure is Holly Holmes, you know.
But Gianna Pena beat Holly Holm already in a one-sided affair. So I think it's probably Raquel Pennington to kind of get that new fresh name. So it could be Pena versus Pennington.
So looking at those rankings that Tana pulled up, I don't think they're going past Holly Holm in terms of a championship fight to be the champion.
Oh no.
I mean,
so one of those top four would be.
How does it usually work when a champ retires like that? Do they have like the top two contenders battle it out, or
yeah?
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so then I mean, from looking at these rankings, it should be Pena and Pennington.
Yeah,
Pennington's won her last 3 fights.
It should be Pena and Pennington, but let's say I'm a promoter and I want
Holly
the name.
Holm is the name.
I want the name. I'll throw Holly Holmes against anybody because, you know, respectfully, Holly Holmes has another storied career in women's mixed martial arts where, you know, when Holly Holmes hangs it up, man, she's going to get a lot of respect, definitely.
Yeah.
And
do they possibly take the top 4 and do, you know,
do they do like a tournament?
They won't. It wouldn't be surprising to say. So the next pay-per-view set, the one after that set. So you're looking at June, July, August. I could see a pay-per-view in August where they will announce the 2, and they don't do like a tournament necessarily. They'll just pick the 2. So Juliana Pena, they'll pick somebody, whether it's Raquel Pennington. I can't remember when she fought last or if she has a fight on the books already, but it could be Pennington or Holly Holm. I don't think she has a fight booked yet here in a little bit either. But Holly Holm's got the name, but I think you could go with Pennington. Watch out. I think that fight could have very happened in your backyard in Boston, Scott. They're coming to Boston.
Nice.
I'll be there. I'll
go. O'Malley versus Sterling's already scheduled for that fight. So that that would be the headlines, and they could just put that as the co-main. You won't really see, you won't really see another women's. I don't think and this is no disrespect, but Amanda was about the only women's champ that could headline outside of Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
you won't see another women's really headliner for a while.
I mean, the idea is before you might probably would have been a name that you would have threw in there for a co-main event, but of course Shevchenko just lost. That was another big storyline. Was, you know, the Mexican women fighters are coming to take over the women's divisions, you know, but it didn't work out for Aldana like that.
Yeah, the women and the men, just because you have
right.
You have Moreno, and then you had Grasso,
right, and Grasso and Aldana. That was a big thing. They got pictures I seen on Instagram and on Twitter of them in another promotion 10 years ago, both being champs. So I think that was a huge point. But when you you want to lie, and you know what I'm saying, I'm as a fight enthusiast, I want to put on the best fight, but as a money guy, like you know Dana White is, you know, I want to put out the names, and I think, and we had a conversation. We all said it earlier. The names on this card don't really jump out and kick you in the face and say, I'm gonna buy this. You know what I'm saying? But the fights that happened were worth it if you bought it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when we get into this new era of there's no Nunez, there's no Cyborg, no Rousey, he's gonna have to pick one of these women to be the next, like they're at every
carry the
pay-per-view
torch,
match.
kind of.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna have to pick one. But if you want to just say a name, who's got an established name, then Holly Holmes has an established name. Once again, she's not bad to look at. She can actually talk, and stuff. But fighting wise, just like you said, Raquel Pennington is like climbing up the ranks fast because she's been finishing these ladies. and that's kind of, I'm not, a lot of times when I watch the women fighters, although it's not like they're putting power in their punches, they are connecting hard, but a lot of them are way better wrestlers, tacticians on the mat.
Right.
It might not knock another woman out, but man,
make them submit.
Yeah, they're finishing the fights. You're
Right.
getting choked out, you're getting submissions. Nunez was a rare breed where, the first 2 rounds she could take a girl out with her hands, but the rest of the fight card, not the fight card, but the rankings speak towards the women who are wrestlers, they're Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists, and we keep referring to Holly Holmes, but Holly Holmes is a kickboxer. Holly Holmes is knock you out with the legs.
Boxer.
Yeah, right. Holmes is a boxer, but Holly Holmes knock you out with her legs too. So it speaks to the depth of the division as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not just all brawlers, it's not just all wrestlers. It's a lot of depth as far as style of fighters too, and styles make fights. So in the long run, I really see them trying to position. Like I said, if they don't take Holly Holmes and say, look here, Holly, man, it's gonna be your last 2 years. You've been fighting 15 years. And you can go to WWE if you want to. After this.
Well, to Scott's question. So, who last night do you think elevated themselves?
I didn't forget that. That was a big one to me. The 2 things. One, I think Dan Ige does not get a lot of credit. Because he's not exciting. There's nothing exciting about Dan Ige. His pre-fight conversations, his post-fight conversations, he's very bland. Dan Ige is black coffee, no sugar, no cream. And you don't necessarily want it, but it'll wake you up. But the point is, he got in that ring and he put on for himself. You know what I mean? And somewhere in there, in the last, I want to say at least 4 fights, he's been really putting on not a show prior to the fight, but a show in the ring. You know what I'm saying? He's showing that his wrestling has got way better. Because at one point in time, it was like, oh, Dan Ige, put you on the ground. No, his stand-up has gone from maybe his weakness to maybe one of his strengths. Because I've never seen him switch stances so much.
I was about to say that was an awesome move that he did, switching his stance right there to southpaw right there, right before that first major knockdown.
Mid-swing, he switches to southpaw.
Yeah, that was I've never seen anybody do nothing like that. That was wild, man. That was a great move.
And Nate the Train is a tough SOB, so I do think that my pick is Canada in itself, right? The 6-0, like elevating Canada. All their fighters coming from that gym, 6-0, to walk out. Some of those guys knocked some dudes out. Fight of the night was probably the Anders, to me, the Durs. And that first round was just at a forensic pace.
They came out swinging, and to see like Barrios and Anders, and Barrios caught him like first 15-20 seconds, and that was a good one.
I thought Anders won that fight, man, not for nothing. Just saying. I thought he won that fight. He was the aggressor. He was the aggressor. The whole fight.
There you go. I think towards let's say
the back end of the third. The back end of the third. I had it 1-1 going to 3. In the back third round, Mark just kind of put it on him real quick. Like, just was you can be the aggressor, but if you're countering him, if he's coming at you and you're countering him and putting him, give him the 1-2 quickly. That's what I saw happen. That edge that third round to him.
Yeah, and I agree. I totally agree with you on that, man. It was way closer than it being a unanimous decision. Then and once again, Mallet and Fugit, I thought that was one that was going to end up going a little longer. But once again, that AKA team, that those guys, listen, when you train with the California kid, it's a whole different experience. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm a big Uriah Faber fan from way back. And you know what I'm saying? I think that, that gym is elevating fighters slowly but surely. Somebody's going to get a title fight. And I guarantee you, we're going to see Uriah Faber and his big chin in the corner. So for me, like with your question, Scott, the Mallet elevated himself into not necessarily into title contention, but let's give you one more fight and let's see if you can get up there.
Yeah, he's somebody definitely to keep an eye out for. Yeah, he looked impressive to me too. I agree with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Y'all got anything else for Whit before we get him out of here?
I was just gonna say 21 submissions for Oliveira. So
yeah, there we go.
That's your number.
16. I shortchanged him.
Yeah, 21. That's insane.
The most he has the most finishes in UFC history. Now he's been in the game a long time, but man, that
he looks pretty motivated last night, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can we catch you in the Rec Room Boys at?
Well, hey man, you guys can catch me and my man Jay on the MIC, man. My dog, what's happening? We are in the process of reconstruction. Normally we do this every couple of months where we try to, redo backgrounds and, figure out how we're going to make it different. So right now we're in a little bit of we're in our cocoon right now. So we can come out after the metamorphosis and be pretty butterflies like everybody else. But of course, if you guys want us, you know what I'm saying? You can catch us online right now at _Rec Room Sports. Shout out to Jay. That's at Rec Room Sporty with a Y. Of course, me on everything, Instagram, Twitter. My mama's mailbox is at your boy K Witt. And of course, if you guys need me, I was listening to the basketball conversation. You can call me for the basketball, okay? You can call me for football.
Definitely.
I'm throwing in some MLS in there right now. I'm throwing a little MLS in there.
Wow. But pass me on that, man.
and for sure right now, and I'm gonna tell you guys, and this is just something to throw out. The WNBA is getting interesting.
Yes.
It is.
Yes,
they're throwing that money out there.
Yes, it is.
You got Brittany Griner back. That's like the mascot right now.
Hey, I'm waiting to declare my team next year when my girl Caitlin Clark goes #1 overall and whatever. I'm buying my Caitlin Clark jersey. I'm gonna be rocking. I watch every WNBA game because but I gotta wait till my girl Caitlin Clark gets drafted after that.
Listen, my team just beat Bobby G the other night, so
I gotta roll with the Carolina girl, man. She's over there in Las Vegas, and right now the Aces look crazy. That's all they keep on repeating is, can the Aces go undefeated? Can they do the 10-loss season? So I'm the women are stepping it up. They of course, y'all will get into it one day. The money's going to be different. The players are going to be focused in playing. I promise you, a lot of those big name players who were going overseas, they're not going overseas no more. They're going to want more money from America. So, Brittany Griner said she's never going back over there. So, I promise you, I can understand why, okay? But at the same time, I want to give a big shout out to all the women's sports. You know what I'm saying? Yes. This card was a huge influence on where we point the cameras at. It's not just because they're good looking, but it's because they're great athletes and they're great people outside of the ring, off the court, on the court, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, whenever you guys need me, I'm right here and I got you.
That sounds awesome. Good.
Vegas just lost to Connecticut the other night.
Did they wind up losing?
I believe
they're still stacked though, man. I think it's dumb and the Liberty.
But
shout out to the New York Liberty.
There you go.
Dewey and
And that's
company.
another one.
They starting to find their groove too. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
I'm loving the WNBA.
I don't get why Allen's just popping in with Boomer Senior all of a sudden. You know, like
We'll get to
come on, man.
Because he's got to talk about himself. All right, Alan.
Love you, Allen.
Appreciate you hopping on this talking UFC, brother. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, bro.
Sports.
You got to do this again, definitely, bro.
Young
hey,
boy.
man, I'm one call away, man. Just holler at me. I'm there for you.
Right.
I got you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yep.
See you.
Peace.
All right.
Hey, before we get into our final closing segments here, Tanner, go ahead and get us through that ad read.
Hang on. I'm trying to figure out why everything's not working now.
All right,
That's
never
cool.
mind.
Oh wait, yeah, never mind. I got it.
Oh, geez.
Underdog Sports, everybody. One of the sites that we love to partner with here. Best ball drafts, fantasy drafts, etc. You can do through the season. You can draft during the season. It's a blast. Make sure you guys go check it out on that here. And you just go to underdog.com. Use promo code LTS. You get match up to $100. You get 100. You put 100 in, you get 100. Put 50 in, you get 50. You can also download their app, which is amazing as well. So make sure you guys check that out and download that up today.
Scott, go ahead and get your promotion in one last time, and before we get to our parting shots here.
So the giveaway is warriorbowl.com is where you go to sign up, first of all. Second of all, we're giving away 2 spots to the Warrior Bowl 2023. It goes to helping children, in hospice and children getting good Christmas presents and stuff like that. So it's a worthwhile charity. It's $25 to donate to the charity. I've already done it. And it's a very worthwhile league. You're playing against industry experts, fantasy experts from RotoWire, football, to companies like that. Let's talk sports with me. So you're playing against me. So I'm an expert too. So, but we're giving away two free spots to that with a $25 donation to charity. And the first question was, Jim Behringer was our first guest. What are the team's banners hanging over his head when he comes on and talks every week to us every Monday night? So, and the second question will be tomorrow night. Yeah.
Great first question. Great opportunity. Great
off of this show. Yeah, I wanted to do the questions off of this show and what has been said and what you see. So I think Alan's already commented on it and stuff like that. So worthwhile charity, worthwhile cause, should get behind it. All children that don't have as much as we do could obviously use good Christmases, and kids that are in hospice and stuff like that. So
well done, Scott. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and let's get our parting shots in here. Johnny, let's start with you. Your parting shots and thoughts of the show. First official week of Let's Talk Sports show as we wrap up our week here.
Well, I think it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. I think we're doing some great things, and there's only more great things to come. More guests, more great interaction. I think we're finding our stride, and it's only going to get better from here. Having so much fun. Like Tanner mentioned, a great night of sports last night. So great stuff for us to talk about. Great guests. So I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. Looking forward to the next week. And tomorrow night, of course, we have Jim and Jonathan back on for our usual Monday show, and it's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to it. And keep your eyes open tomorrow night. I got to promote myself a little bit, of course, because that's who I am. But tomorrow night, 8:00, the Johnny Cruz show, the one and only Matt Larison will be my guest for that one. So definitely check that out. So you get a little appetizer before the LTS show at 9 p.m. Eastern time for tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm loving this, man. I'm loving being part of this. Shout out to Tanner for all the work that he puts in behind the scenes and stuff, making us look good and shit. So shout out to Tanner. Shout out to you, Nick, for steering the boat and not hitting any icebergs. So I appreciate that, and it's been a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to everything going forward, man. We're having a blast.
It's not quite the Titanic yet, so
yeah, it's too warm to have icebergs right now.
Oh man,
Scott, go ahead and get your final shots in here.
Again, piggybacking on what Johnny said, this has been fun. This has been exciting to get it started, and the first week has been really good. I know Tanner again was throwing around numbers. It's great to see people watching the show, enjoying it, and I guess come on and give out information to us all that is something that we didn't realize. So I'm looking forward to the future of the show as it goes on. It can only grow and get better. So I'm excited to be a part of this show.
Absolutely.
Tanner, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, guys. This whole thing here that I've done with Bodkins at least here for a year now going into this, it's all about learning new things, learning new sports, trying to understand it, right? First it was NHL stuff, still working into that there with Jim and Nick here now, and then now UFC fights. Now I'm trying to be able to watch that and get the feel of that. It's just learning new things, learning new stuff. For me, it's big here. By the way, we're gonna have Whit on maybe a couple more times here for sure in the next couple months. So there's a lot to talk. There are a lot of the Rec Room guys there. All three of them we'll probably have on at some point in the next couple months. So I'm excited for that. And then I'm excited for our big special that we're going to be working on next Thursday for the NBA draft. So we'll announce details as we get closer, but something to think about there. I'm actually excited. I wanted to do something last year, didn't get to do it. This year, we're going to do something big. We're going to do it on the show here that will involve multiple guests, really cool things here. And I'm sure Dan's going to be doing something behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. So shout out to Dan. Appreciate him.
Absolutely.
And
let's keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, shout out to Dan.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to LTS. Yes, this is awesome, man. Looking forward to everything going forward, man. We got a lot of big things planned, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely hit the subscribe, smash that like, and you definitely want to hit that notification bell, people, so you know whenever anybody's going live. There is all kinds of great content going on, and it's just going to get better.
Yeah, so my final thoughts here. First of all, shout out to the Oklahoma Sooners women's softball team. Championships in a row.
51, 52 wins in a row? It's wild.
50, I thought it was 56, but I could be wrong. So 50 plus wins in a row, absolute dominating fashion, swept everybody right through their playoff run. Obviously, that's pretty much like 3 seasons in a row of walking undefeated. That's a dynasty, folks. So it's what we like to call in sports, 3 in a row. Shout out to them. They're absolutely they knock the cover off the ball. They play really good defense. We'll talk a little bit with Jonathan Grishman tomorrow night about it. We talk about the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow night with Jim Behringer as well. And maybe a little wrestling or so, things like that with Jim as well. So be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do. We'll be coming to you guys again every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central. 8 o'clock Central PM, 8 p.m. also as well on Thursday night. And then obviously, go back to that was 175 and what?
And 8 in 3 years. That's ridiculous.
That's
bro.
stupid.
For Oklahoma.
Wow.
The only thing I could think that could touch that is UCLA.
UConn. UConn. The UConn women.
UConn women's basketball, yeah.
UCLA
Like that.
basketball with Doc Wooden back in the day when Scott was
when Scott was a teenager.
I was in diapers back then, so
watching Kareem play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lou
The
Alcindor.
skyhook was amazing. Let me tell you, I saw that time and time again.
So shout out to OU women. That's an incredible run.
Yes, sir.
Enough about, but man, there's something special when anytime a dynasty team like that pops along. We might be watching a dynasty start tomorrow night. Nuggets have a chance to close it out. We'll talk about it tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central. Right.
That's great.
And shout out to Sam, man. He missed out on this show because he, like you said, he had to do some ginger stuff today.
Things.
He had some dad and some family responsibilities.
Yeah, right there.
We missed you, Sam, but you know what I'm saying? We'll definitely see him. He'll be back with us tomorrow night. So
Sam will be back from the Ginger Convention. Him and Chris Kamen were in the Ginger Convention. So, what that guy called me on Twitter, he called me something when I called him Chris Kamen. I don't even
Oh my God, it was
It was
fun
I
as
remember.
hell too. I can't remember right now, but shout out to Dan. He was a good dude. He was fun, man.
Shout out to the answer 42, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. But the answer will probably be the Nuggets tomorrow night. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night, 8:00
Do
Central.
you-
Be a friend, tell a friend. See you tomorrow night. Tanner, hit that outro, baby. Let's get out of here.
Boop.
One life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep, only scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no